Moving on to the financial review, and Biden backs Indo-Pacific investment, which is good to see. Obviously, this is coming from Matthew Cranston, who's with the Prime Minister at this point in time in the US. Prime Minister Scott Morrison and US President Joe Biden have agreed to move in lockstep on issues of climate change and protecting democracy, and will lift their economic investment in the Indo-Pacific to counter China's growing influence, despite both dismissing concerns about the risk of conflict and a new Cold War. From a West Australian point of view, I kind of like the fact that they're looking to expand investment in the Indo-Pacific region, because I guess we are pretty much a one-note state. We dig stuff out of the ground and we ship it to China, and we don't really have much to fall back on. So the fact that we're looking into different industries and different environments, be that either Japan, Indonesia, India moving forward, this is a good thing, right? Or do you think some people will read this as yet another provocation to China?
Oh, they will, but I mean, they're people who suck up to China and ignore everything that is wrong with the place. And I don't know, think we should become another state of China, which is sort of the impression you get when you look at the ramblings of Paul Keating these days. But we really need to be concerned about the rise of China in the Pacific, because they go around with their Belt and Road program that our man Dan wanted to sign up to here in Victoria, basically buying up little islands in the Pacific. And what they're doing is buying influence. One day they're going to come and say, you owe us a favour. No money from China comes for free. No money from anyone comes for free. And so if we want to position ourselves as a strong power in the Pacific, we have to invest to try and counter their investment. For all his faults, this is some pretty decent, solid foreign affairs policy that we're getting from Biden at the moment. And to have his hand helping in this is a good thing.
Look, I don't want to dismiss how his predecessor would have acted, but I kind of like the idea that there's a bit of a cool hand at the helm of this ship with Bojo and ScoMo as well. So I think the trip's going to be really fascinating just to see how our relations sort of continue. And I think the AUKUS, it's a good idea in theory. Let's just see how it plays out. Speaking of China, there is another really interesting story that has been catching my eye for the past couple of days, specifically in the financial press. Evergrande, it's an interesting company at this point in time, and there's a radical turn of events for the troubled Chinese developer that rescued it from imminent default and has helped Australian materials stocks to steep gains, lifting the broader market by 0.32%. The S&P ASX 300 index recovered yesterday from a drop of 0.44 at its intraday low of a session of high of 0.9 on the confirmation that Evergrande would make an interest payment due to bondholders. Today, against the odds, the benchmark was up 23 points at the closing bell. I didn't think it was going to go this way, Caleb. I thought we're all going to fall off a cliff. This is a good sign, do you think?
Well, it just goes to show, people say a day's a long time in politics. A day's a long time anywhere these days. Things can turn on their head. And particularly for you in a state that relies on the sale of and the use of natural resources and all sorts of things, it's good to see that this has worked. And I think there will be many people tonight breathing a sigh of relief. But once again, it's one of those things that can turn on its head again. If it can change this quickly, there's no reason it can't change that quickly again.